Hello, Malena Montoya.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Thank you so much for being a guest on Coffee with Kyla today. Cheers. Do you have your coffee?
I do. I don't have a mug. I am a
Thermos.
thermos person, yes. I have my coffee.
Well, you're a busy lady. It has to last. I'm sure it has to stay hot longer than the average coffee drinker.
I think that's the reason why, yes.
So, Malena, can you introduce yourself and your role with Steelcase?
Sure. So I am a regional application consultant for Steelcase. I've been in this role for 10 years now, and I consider myself to be a translator. We tend to listen to customers' business needs, their pain points, what they're going through, and changes that they want to happen. And we take that information, look at our insights, go through our research, and then translate that into applications, into settings, into a variety of combination of products that would help them be able to achieve, those business goals that they're trying to go for.
Yeah, I love that. I've never really thought about design or what you do as a translator, but that's completely accurate. You have all of this rich information from Steelcase research and putting it into application. Love that description. So our first question is always, what behavior have you developed during this time that you hope becomes a habit?
Yeah, since I started working from home, I think before COVID, the majority of my communication was via emails.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, maybe a little bit more text and a few phone calls. So it wasn't too bad. But of course, after COVID and everyone was sent home, I realized that I was on the phone all day. There were 8 hours worth of phone calls with no time, for some personal opportunities just to get away. Couldn't run down to get some coffee or food or, a restroom break. And worse, to even think about the previous phone call or the future phone call. So I spoke to a few of my leaders and I'm like so drained by the end of the day. I don't know exactly what to do here. And it was suggested to me to make sure that I put time on my calendar. Write it on the calendar that, these 15 minutes, this half hour is mine.
Yeah.
And I've really tried to create that time in between meetings so that I have time to digest the information I just heard.
Yeah.
And then prepare myself for my next meeting.
Yeah.
Or in our world as designers, we need time to think and be creative. And if I'm on 8 hours of call, you can only imagine, all our design work is done after 5 in the evening when those phone calls disappear. So, it was a little stressful, I think, at the beginning, but being able to control, to manage my time, I think has really helped.
That's awesome. What a great tip for people in general during this time. I think we've been doing this long enough. We're getting that Zoom fatigue.
Yeah.
And information starting to mash together. And I love that after the meeting, just taking a little bit of time to digest, write down some notes, I think is an awesome tip for everyone right now, not only designers, but anyone that's got kind of that full schedule during the day.
It was definitely suggested. Also, we've heard a lot of people talk about getting into the habit of ending meetings 15 minutes before the hour and starting them at the hour. And it was mainly because of our social separation when we do come back to the office, that people are not outside of a conference room waiting to get in while others are trying to get out, so that there's a little bit of time in between one meeting and the other. But I also think it's great to continue that same thought process while we're at home. And our meetings are also back to back. We're not moving from one location to the other, but our minds are trying to shift from one conversation to the next.
Yeah, totally. So great segue into our next question. Let's discuss why the office is not dead. We had some really rich dialogue with Kelsey Krowicki in our previous video, but we'd love to hear your point of view, Malena.
Mm. Yeah. I've worked in an office for most of my life. I've been designing for over 20 years. And 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to work from home, and I loved it. I worked around my meetings and my family time. And, I was just home more often, which was not the case previously.
Yeah.
But then, shortly after the excitement of being at home, I started, I missed those interactions with my coworkers, those impromptu celebrations, at 5 o'clock. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
let's all go out, or I'd hear, somebody had a baby and they brought him into the office, or somebody got a new puppy and they came to visit. And we definitely are social creatures and we crave those connections.
Yeah.
I also missed working together side by side with others on a project and suddenly getting, that spark, that new idea, um, or knowing we were working together towards, the same purpose. We had a deadline to meet, and everyone's pumped up, and we're trying to, get there quickly and better than anybody else. It's that kind of energy that just motivates you every time.
Yeah.
I also miss those collisions into people while you walk to the copier or you go get your coffee. The people you see and you hear without purposefully looking for them. That experience is hard to create when you're off site. And it's not the same via text or email. And it's even harder to bond with coworkers when one call ends and the next one immediately starts. So, making those connections, the creating those relationships, learning from each other,
Yeah.
it just helps us be better in every way, and we're a better resource for others, that are at the workplace.
Yeah. So I agree. I think that having a place creates a sense of purpose and community. And then you're together focused on, the same driver when you're side by side with someone. And like you said, when you're in a video conference meeting day, hour by hour, and you're logging off to get on to the next, a lot of that is missing.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of research coming out now that, productivity might be up, but that's really task-driven productivity. And what is down is innovation and collaboration is really suffering. So, I'm excited to get back, like you said, elbow to elbow, maybe 6 feet elbow to elbow for a little while. Yeah, this far away. But yes, having those collaborative moments where ideas start flourishing when you're feeding off each other's energy is really missing right now.
Yeah. I definitely looked forward when I had a meeting at your location or, a company meeting at headquarters. There was always, this excitement to see my coworkers, to hear what you've been up to. In a way, I felt like I was disrupting you guys because you're all there focusing while I'm coming in. I was like, hey, how you doing?
Well, but we love it too that, you have a guest come in with, what have you been seeing, Malena? And I loved sharing ideas when you came into the office and what you're seeing in your projects and what we're seeing in our projects, and just sharing best practices and insights, I think is what I miss the most.
I totally agree. Yeah. And unfortunately you cannot do that it's hard to do it on a call.
Yeah. It's purposeful. It can happen, but it's less frequent and less organic, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the word, organic. Yep.
So let's see, how are you seeing the workplace evolve? Where do you think we're headed?
Good question.
Loaded.
Yeah. I think we are still on this learning journey, and we are currently trying, we're all trying to solve for this immediate need of this social distance. And we're not quite sure what the future will look like. Everyone hopes that, we will adapt to this virus, or, the virus will go away and social distancing will disappear. But nobody's really sure, when we only have what we know today to work with.
Yeah.
And there are a few things that we do know, there's a variety of organizations doing a lot of research, not only us. And from those studies and from customer conversations, we do understand that, like you said previously, individual task work is up.
Yeah.
Collaboration creativity, is down. We're not seeing a lot of that. There are a high percentage of employees that say they want to come back to the workplace. And more than half of them are saying that it's because they want to collaborate, they want to socialize, they want to be part of this community. This life experience that we're going through has definitely pushed us to think differently about how we do our work. I think many organizations were not ready for this. And, they've had to make quick decisions for their people to be up and running in a different location. And technology has played a huge role in us being able to continue to do our work. Mobile devices, using Wi-Fi. So many organizations, had their limits on using Wi-Fi.
Right.
And we've been pushed to be able to do that. So, technology will definitely continue to play a huge role in how we continue to do our work.
Yeah. So I love that a little bit on if you didn't have a work from home policy, you definitely have one now. And this balance of choice and control, I think it's an expanded amount of choice and control. And that now includes work from home. So we talk a little bit about this ecosystem of space, which leads us into my next question. What are elements that decision makers and designers need to challenge themselves on as we look to the future of work?
Okay. So yes, ecosystem of places. If you know anything about Steelcase, we have used that phrase for a very long time. And I think we believe in that more than ever today.
Yeah.
The importance of providing people choice where to work and how to work based on their needs.
Yeah.
By giving them choice, they're able to feel a sense of control over their work and a sense of safety.
Yeah.
If I can work from home, or if I can go into the office and work in a focus booth, or if I can collaborate in an open environment where I can sit farther away from others, I would probably feel more in control of my surroundings and safer because I selected where to get my work done.
Yeah.
So having a variety of spaces that support not only individual work, but group work is definitely a must.
Mm-hmm.
And now more than ever, each one of these spaces needs to be equipped with technology for us to be able to work together.
Yeah.
Or even if you're alone, you still need that technology because in many cases, you will be having face-to-face conversations, or a lot of it will be virtual, and not just, one person, there'll be many people. So yeah, technology will definitely play a huge part. I think one of the most unique considerations that many organizations will have to consider is shifting from fixed to flexible environments that can easily adapt, and adjust to any future disruption that we might have.
Right.
So that might be a little bit different for many customers.
Yeah. When we've had a lot of those conversations, in solving for the near, and anything that we're suggesting or providing or adjusting has got to be agile enough to adjust in the future, because this is, as we have witnessed, is ever evolving, and we only know what we know today. We can't predict tomorrow. So really focusing on the agility of your pieces and people being as flexible as possible so that you can adjust quickly and seamlessly.
Right. Yeah. And I think, people wise, I think with having to move so quickly to work from home has forced us to be more mobile. Now it's a matter of how do we bring that back into the workplace so that space is as flexible as our people are now.
Well, and you had talked on kind of the ecosystem. We've seen that Venn diagram of well-being, of cognitive and physical, and the center of that has changed from engagement or productivity to safety.
Safety, yeah.
So really that center, and you had talked about, having visibility to the cleanliness or the procedures that are in line, but also that choice and control, that I am in control of my safety. If I want to work here because that's where I feel most comfortable to do my work today, they have the autonomy to do that.
Yeah, totally agree. It's all about perception, safety. It's not just about having the tools and the wipes, and everything else you need to create a clean environment. It's also about the perception that I am in control and I can feel safe when I come into a workplace. So whether that is a screen or a closed door, or just being, taking my desk and moving it a little bit further than somebody else's, that all helps us, create that environment that we need.
So what is life like as a designer right now? We're focused on workplace, that's our design bread and butter. But James Ludwig gave this really great quote about finding clarity in the middle of the unknown is a great time for design and innovation. So what has life been like for you right now, Malena? You've been at this a couple of years.
Yeah. So as a designer, I think we all love a challenge. The requirements that we're given on specific projects, it's kind of like a puzzle that we have to put together. Yeah. And this one for sure is a very interesting challenge. And it is something that I think many of us have not dealt with before. I'm sure some designers that work in the health market might have, seen something similar to this, but the majority of us, like myself, I have not had to do this. And, we went from night to day trying to solve for immediate needs like density, geometry, and division between people. But at the same time, we quickly immersed ourselves in research mode, trying to understand, as much as we could about the virus and how it works and how design of spaces can help us deal with this situation. But we really wanted to understand, if people wanted to come back to the office, why did they want to come back? Why were they looking for this connection? And of course, that brings up the next question, which is, what can those environments look like? Yeah. To answer the why of why they wanted to come back. So whether that is at home or in the workplace, we definitely feel that it'll be a blend of both. But I think we are all trying to figure out this new workplace, what these new spaces in combination can bring to us. Yeah. And I think that you is exactly right, that we have to really understand why people are wanting to come back to the office. And I think the case per place has never been more important than it is right now, but the need to get it right is imperative. We've got to understand what people are craving and make sure that we're supplying it so that the workplace becomes a place they want to be rather than where they have to be. Yeah, it's so true. I love that, where I want to be versus where I have to be. Yeah. Giving us that selection, I think will be helpful, again, going back to me feeling safe. Yeah. If I feel safe working from home a few days a week or a few hours, but I have that opportunity to connect with my coworkers coming in for a little bit, and I can control the environment that we're working in, I think, that's a win. Yeah, for everybody. Yeah. Well, Malena, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure to have you. Oh, it's always great seeing you too. We love everything that you provide for us, and your point of view is always rich and refreshing. So thank you again. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hope everyone is safe. And I can't wait to come into the office to see you guys. We're looking forward to it. Thank you again. Be well. All right. Bye, Kyla. Bye.